Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 3. Module 3 moves on to our next essay, which is a cause and effect essay. So we are moving to a different pattern or style of writing. You will notice a lot of the assignments look similar to what you did for the narrative essay, but you're now doing it for your new essay. So we're doing the same, we're taking the same techniques that we used for the first essay, and we're applying it now to this new essay assignment. So what you're going to be doing here is first learning more about cause and effect. So you have two types of readings here. The Module 3 readings for cause and effect are out of the Patterns textbook. So in this Patterns textbook, when we go to your vital source link, and you've got these two books here. The patterns book is divided into different patterns or styles of writing, and so you'll want chapter 10 as the cause and effect chapter that you'll be looking at, and there are plenty of examples in here about how cause and effect work and what you should be considering when you're writing a cause and effect essay. The most helpful, I think, really is looking through it. There's like a planning the cause and effect essay and structuring it. Those sections are most helpful when students are sitting down to actually write the essay. The other thing that you'll be doing is looking over some information about thesis statements. There is a section in your patterns book as well as a section in your rules for writers book. In rules for writers, this book is a handbook. It just gives you basic information about writing in general, and so it's giving you a lot of advice on how to put things together to make it make sense. There's a section here. This whole section, the process for writing, is really useful, and there's a whole section on drafting and revising a working thesis. And so the thesis for this essay is a little bit more complicated than the one we did for the narrative essay, so you want to be really looking over those readings. So once you've done those two readings, then you do have the readings quiz to take, and like half the questions are about thesis statements and half the questions are about cause and effect. So they're two different things. They're just combined together into one quiz. For just so that it's simplified a little. So then you're going to move into the actual essay assignment. Once you're done with that and you know a little bit more about cause and effect, you're going to move into the essay assignment. So for this assignment, we are exploring cause and effect relationships, which is different from your narrative style of writing. So in a narrative, we tell a story from beginning to end. In a cause and effect, we explore something based on what is causing versus something that's an effect. So, something that happens that has an impact on something else and the result of that. So you're going to be using a personal experience for this one as well. However, you wouldn't choose something different from the narrative essay because we are approaching the entire thing differently. So you want to be picking something different. You have four options here. The first one is to write about, this is just a little bit different from the other three, but the first one is to pick something that's had an impact on you. So a movie or book, something like that. And then how did it affect you? So you're exploring mostly the effects of whatever it was on you. So whether it was a movie that you watched or a book that you read or something like that, and then pointing out really specific things that happen in the movie or the book and how they affected you. So that's a little bit it's a little bit more complicated to do that one, but some students like it just because it's a different style or a different type of topic. Especially if they can't think of something for the other ones. So the other three are a little bit more similar to kind of what we were doing with the narrative essay. You're choosing some kind of incident that happened to you or some kind of experience that you had, and then you're exploring that cause and effect relationship. So it could be an education related experience. It may be an experience where you witnessed something or were involved in something, and that civility or incivility and how that affected you. And then this last one, which I think personally is the easiest one to write about, but is the most interesting to me, is a choice that you made that either had a positive or negative impact on you, and then what are the causes and effects of that. So it may be something like you bought a house, or it may be something like you started smoking. So it's really dependent on you whether you decide on something positive or negative, but then what were the results of that, and how did that impact you? What were some of the reasons why you made that choice, and then what were the impacts from it? To me, that's the most interesting and the easiest one to write. but it's up to you which one you pick. So your essay itself is going to be a 5-paragraph essay. Instead of writing it in like chronological as a story, you are still thinking like order of the events, but more like what were the causes first, and then what were the effects as a result. So we're still kind of in that chronological timeline, but it's really more about what's happening to begin with in order to affect what happens later. And so there's a lot of stuff in the chapter that will help you, but lots of details to help us understand it. And it's all personal. You're not using any sources or anything. You're just thinking about what was that incident? What was that choice that you made? What was that movie that you watched? And then what are the effects on you? So it's all about you. There's a lot of stuff in here for you. There's some information about generating a topic. I do have some suggestions for using AI to generate ideas and giving you and some examples for how that might look. So this would be the prompt that you could use if you want. And then this was the what came up when I used it. And sometimes they are helpful and sometimes they're absolutely not because when you're trying to come up with ideas, like AI doesn't know anything about you personally, so it's not going to come up with some good real personal things, but it may come up with kind of a category of a topic that you can then apply specifically to you. So it's up to you whether or not you want to do that. And then there's the brainstorm. So the brainstorm is just like the one that we did for the narrative essay, where you come up with just a list of topics. And whether or not they're inspired by AI, that's up to you. But they need to be topics specific to you, things that have happened that you could explore that cause-effect connection. And then the free write, where you just write continuously about a couple of them or one of them or whatever. And then this is the one where I'm expecting errors, because to do a brainstorm effectively, you really need to be typing continuously and not stopping to correct anything. So so far everybody's done a really great job with that. Then you're going to do your outline. So first kind of cause or effect, second cause or effect, and third most important cause or effect. So this is kind of the way it's going to look when you want to be doing it fairly formal, in like you use the Roman numerals and then you have supporting ideas underneath. I have an example here that I created for me, and it's just I did two things. This is an option. You can use AI as well, as long as you write your own outline first. So this is the example using my outline and then the AI. So my outline, this was just the stuff that I came up with, and it's my decision to start running. And then I've got one cause paragraph and 2 effect paragraphs, and just some things that I was thinking of. And then I asked Perplexity to create an outline. Obviously Perplexity doesn't know me personally, and so a lot of the stuff it generated was fairly general, but I did go through and I highlighted some of the ideas that I thought were something that I could apply, or some of the wording that I thought was good, and so then when I go back through, I can kind of pick out some of the things that I think might help me, but obviously it's not going to be perfect because the AI doesn't know me. So that can be an example of what you might do if you want. That AI option is there. You do not have to use it if you don't want to, but you want to use this prompt that I created for you to get the most accurate result that's going to help you out. If you do the AI option, make sure you do upload both versions and that they're labeled which one is AI and which one is yours. So that's an option. Then you're going to move on and actually do the rough draft in this module. So it's a lot to get through. You need to go through the whole process: brainstorming, outlining, and drafting. So try to get the brainstorm and outline done earlier so that I can give you feedback before you get to the draft. This is everything that you want to include in your draft, as well as some questions for self-editing and revision. This is also a self-edited draft, so you submit your essay and then you go through and you make sure that you click on submission details, view feedback, the DocuViewer, and use those Canvas editing tools to leave yourself feedback. So some of you haven't done that yet for your narrative. You want to make sure that you are leaving self-editing feedback. Otherwise, you won't get full points for this assignment. So it's a lot to get done in this module, but we're going through the whole process of learning about cause and effect all the way up to drafting it. In the next module, you're doing your first peer edit and your final draft for this essay. So we are accelerating the timeline still. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, have a great week.